The large reoccurring issue that you're probably going to have to face a lot of times on your journey is finding what to actually improve on. Now, a lot of us know what the big idea is, right? The main pillars of life being your physical, mental, your family, all those things. We know those, right? We know the general direction to head in. But at a certain point in time, you have to go a little bit more specific and you have to go into little nuances on the very specific things on what you should work on, right? Myself, I know I have to be a better content creator and make better videos, but sometimes it's not completely obvious for me on how to do that, right? Maybe small editing techniques that I'm not completely aware of, maybe these small little things. I don't know exactly what's going to help me, and the exact answer is not an easy one to find. And so one day when I'm biking back from school to go back home, I noticed myself noticing couples a lot more often. I see one couple on the way back, like down the road, then another one down the road. Then I see a couple from my school down the road. Then I see an elderly couple down the road. And there's just couples galore, right? And it wasn't even really jealousy or me focusing on the idea of love there, but it was kind of just me noticing how lonely I really felt sometimes. And since school started, I've made myself kind of lock in and study and do the work that I need to, right? I'm doing all my schoolwork. I'm doing all the work that I need to as a content creator. I'm putting in the work. I'm working out. I'm doing everything that I could have ever wanted to do. And I'm having super uber productive days, right? And it feels good to be very productive. And on some days, I'll work until it's 9 and I won't even eat until it's 9. And at first I thought it was a really good thing that I was working super hard. But after noticing what I noticed on the bike, I realized that it was really just a cover up for my own loneliness. And this is what I'm trying to teach you here. More often than not, what you notice and what you start seeing more often is going to be what you feel you lack, or it represents what you feel you lack. And there's actually some science behind this too. There's a part of your brain called the reticular activation system, or RAS in short, that controls and helps you think about things that you're thinking about previously. So if you just have a random thought blur through your mind and you say that, oh, I'm a worthless piece of dookie, right? That part of your brain is going to think back and try and look at things that remind you of that and show you evidence of that being a reality. So a lot of your issues, you probably already thought of once, but you just never gave it enough thought to really realize that was the big underlying issue. And your RAS, that part of your brain, brings that to the light. Your subconscious pushes that out and makes you conscious of it. So for example, in myself, the reason why I looked at couples was because I saw that the companionship between one another and having that intimate relationship was, to me, the ultimate cure of loneliness. But at this point, I realized that that's not really the best thing. But that's the reason why I looked at it. I thought being in an intimate relationship was the ultimate cure to loneliness. And that was why I constantly noticed and looked at those things. And at this point, I realized there are only two options for me. The first option being to let myself suffer in loneliness, and in response to that, let my work suffer. Or two, normalize that loneliness with myself and just come to peace with it and actually somewhat enjoy it. And I chose option 2 rather than 1 because I prioritize my work a lot more than just letting some stupid loneliness beat me, right? I'm not losing to no loneliness. And slowly through that realization, I started making the idea of loneliness as not such a bad thing anymore. I didn't see it as a sad thing, and sometimes now I see it as a good thing because one, it lets me get some work done, and it's no longer a cover up for my loneliness, but I just genuinely enjoy doing my work. And two, it gave me some time to just sort some things out with myself, and it really benefited my overall mental health too. Now, I'm not telling you to be a loner here, right? But just some quick out of nowhere advice. You're gonna be alone sometimes, and it's better to get comfortable with being lonely sooner than later. Because other times, when you're deeper into life, and the stakes are maybe possibly higher, and the pressure is a lot more on you, you might crumble under the feeling of loneliness, and it's better to get through it now than having to get through it later, right? And for you, I just want you to go around and get out of your house and look at some of the things around you. Don't make yourself look at any specific things, but just go around and look at things and notice what you notice the most. And I think it helps for me if you think about it like this. It's like having a map versus not having a map. Not having a map, it makes things a lot more hard on you, and you just go around zigzagging, not really knowing where you go. You go around in a circle, you're probably going to end up back where you started, and it's going to be a very difficult time to actually find where you want to be. And sometimes you might even cross where you want to be, or even go backwards, right? You never know where you're actually going. But with a map, it makes things a lot easier and a lot more straightforward. Yes, things are going to be a little bit difficult because you have to make that long, difficult walk and you have to travel the way there, but at least you have a way forward and at least you know where you have to go and estimately how long you have to get there. You're not going to have a lot of that information and you're not going to have the privilege of having all that, right? But the privilege that you do have after going out and realizing a lot of the things that you need to work on is at least a very straightforward direction of where you need to head to, right? You have a more specific outlook on the things that you need to work on. And I think that's a very important thing for your overall journey and your overall success. Besides that, that's about it for me. So I do appreciate every single one of you watching to the end here. But yeah, just stay consistent, stay disciplined, and keep on doing the things that need to be done. All right? Give me a kiss. Mwah.